Welcome back, my creative friends. It's me, Susana Baker, presenting Wynwood Magazine Podcast. Hi, I'm Susana Baker, your host of Wynwood Magazine, where we bring you the creatives, we bring you the influencers and the trailblazers. And with me today, we have Jason Spiegel, the founder of Freebee. How are you, Jason?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here.
It's such a deja vu moment. I mean, we're not in the same. This is a brand new office, which is gorgeous, by the way. Congratulations. But years ago, more than a decade, I believe, we met when you had just came from Philadelphia and you were embarking in a dream.
Yes,
And the dream has taken motion.
the dream has definitely taken motion and it's, zigged and it's zagged. And now we're kind of on a straight course to where it's selling now.
That is awesome. Well, I've zigged and zagged also from the days that I know you. And I remember that you had came with this brand new concept and you were so before your time because now with the Teslas and all the electrical vehicles, that's like a given. But back in 2012, that wasn't the norm.
No,
What made you create Libby?
well, coming down to South Florida, like you said, came from Philadelphia, went to school at University of Miami. And really, to get anywhere, you wanted to go within, just call it Miami, you had two choices. You either had a car, right? Which as a college student, not many people had, or you're going to jump into a taxi, right? So there was not many transportation solutions at the time. And, obviously, as we went through our years at University of Miami and transportation was a big problem, it became even a bigger problem when we left University of Miami into the real world, was actually living on Miami Beach and, very similar problem. Not easy to move around there. And every time we wanted to go somewhere, we would call a taxi. You didn't know if they were showing up in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, or if they're going to show up at all. And really started to kind of see this concept of, you know, free transportation, of pedicabs, even smaller electric golf carts, et cetera, being funded through this advertising mechanism, but really in return, able to provide this free transportation service. And we looked at it, my partner and I, who also went to the University of Miami, Chris Kimball, and we said, very interesting idea. We can do it much better. And really put our entire life savings into buying our first six vehicles. We launched them on Miami Beach, and really our revenue generation at the time was 100% advertising. And, we got brands like Coca-Cola, T-Mobile, Verizon, a lot of the bigger brands that were, seeing the value of our advertising platform. We wrap the vehicles, provide this, kind of large scale marketing campaign. And in return, we were able to provide this free transportation service. And we started to grow the business, through that kind of vertical. We expanded it to the Brickell area. We started, in terms of where our office space was in the Mimo area. But then soon after, end of 2013, we moved into Wynwood and really were there before everything started to become what it is today. Parking was still free on the street at the time. Really, there was only Panther Coffee and a few galleries, but we were there in the beginning. And from that point in time, uh, we started to continue to grow through this, again, advertising model. And really, it wasn't until about 2014, 2015 when Uber just out of nowhere came and broke into this market here, right? And
Right,
this new concept of on-demand transportation, and
right,
it was really cool because it was similar to what we were providing, but they had a whole technology piece surrounding it,
right. They have the infrastructure.
where you can now call it through an app, and a vehicle picks you up at your door and takes you where
Right.
to go. And we saw that and said we should develop some similar technology for this.
You not have heard at the beginning, no?
No, it
You
was
didn't heard you found it like you welcomed them.
yeah, and again,
Because that was my next question. How has a vision for Freebie uh, changed since you launched?
yeah,
Because I know that we met in 2012, 2013, prior to you going to Wynwood, because we had done the Design District tour and just was launching a Wynwood tour. And we didn't have the map yet because the map I did in 2015 with the Zika
Yep.
virus.
Okay.
That's when I came up with a map just to put food on the table.
Zika was only in Wynwood, right? Only in Wynwood.
Have we suffered our
Yeah.
recessions, right? Especially if you deal with only Wynwood. Oh, and yeah, I have to tell you, my marketing was saying funding through advertising, which is not very easy to.
Yep. Oh, it's not.
People don't understand all the hardship that you put into these golf carts, the insurance, all the liability that you take on to provide a free service to the visitors and the locals.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to get people to understand that. And I know it took Freebie a while to get there. What did you find yourself that you aligned your vision with Uber's? You were saying, like, hey, let's look into this app. But you had to get some partnership agreements with the city or with something to keep you afloat.
Sure. And at that time, it was all advertising, right? Like you said, it ebbs and flows, right? There's months where you're like, wow, can this be every single month? And then there's other months where you're not generating as much revenue and you still want to provide a good service. So again, as we saw that technology, we said, let's build something similar, but more about, hey, we can develop more advertising revenue streams on the app, give more value to our advertisers, we'll make more money. And we set out, we built the app, we launched it. And really, it was in 2016 that the village of Key Biscayne just reached out to us
That's awesome.
and said, listen, we have parking issues on our island. We have traffic congestion, and really, we just don't want our residents to have to take out their personal vehicle to move around. Can you provide that service for us? And as much as we would have loved to provide the service at no cost to Key Biscayne, we told them that there's just no way to generate the same amount of revenue that would be needed to provide this dedicated service.
Right.
And they basically gave us a shot and said, hey, what if we funded like public transportation? And we said, try it out. So we got a 1 year pilot. It was with two vehicles. And, as that program launched, the ridership started to go through the roof.
Awesome.
The community loved it. And from that point forward, we said, you know what? We can't survive in just this 100% advertising based model. Let's go after public transit contract. Really, that was the pivot of the entire business model from that advertising.
Who gave you the was it the county or the city?
It was the village of Key Biscayne.
The village of Key Biscayne, which is awesome because that's a good name to have.
Yeah. Well,
But did you take that to the city or the county to do the same thing for other areas? Like, in other words, besides Key Biscayne, how have you launched the sustainability concept?
uh-huh.
Not only the transportation, but the sustainability that you add to the value of our world.
Yeah.
That is so respected now,
Mhm.
and especially today
Yeah.
with what's happening with the fuel prices.
Absolutely.
You're in such I would assume your demand has gone up.
Yeah. No, the demand has gone up. And yeah, from a value standpoint, it's transportation, which is extremely important to the communities, but obviously has an element of sustainability because we're only using electric vehicles. Excuse me. And public transportation is one of the biggest drivers of pollution in this world.
Right.
So to be able to, number one, get people to leave their car at home and then use a public transit system that's powered through electricity,
Right.
it's a double good thing.
Yeah.
And then, the whole other aspect of how we're connecting, locally with the business.
Yes. How have you gone beyond
Yeah.
with your original vision
Mhm.
has gone beyond to different districts?
Yeah. Listen, it's a matter of luck and timing in life, right? You
Absolutely.
try to go down one path and sometimes it leads you another path, but ultimately what happened in Key Biscayne was a blessing.
Yes.
It was very successful. And, shortly after that, city of Coral Gables was going through a big streetscape, a miracle mile in Geralda. And,
Right.
they were suffering because not many people were coming into the district because there was no parking. The traffic was insane. It was a
So
construction
true.
zone.
So true.
So they were like, well, we should try to bring in this service during that time being to help people get from, where they live in that area to frequent the businesses. And, they brought our service in. That became very successful. And again, both Key Biscayne and Coral Gables, and that was 2016, 2017. They're still operating today, which means that this service is providing true value to those communities in so many different ways.
So when did you make your anniversary? Like 3 years ago?
What anniversary? Like
No, 10,
our 10? Yeah, we're 14 years in. So that was 2022 would be
22.
the 10 year.
They say after 10 years in business, things happen.
Yeah. It,
And it's
it just doesn't happen overnight.
it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Absolutely not. And so now here's two kids from University of Miami that have this desire to go around outside of the campus and move around, and it's not easy. So you start with some golf carts. Now your cars have evolved. They're
Oh yeah.
different. They look like retro
Yeah.
Volkswagens almost.
Oh yeah.
Is that am I correct with
You are. I mean, Len, the golf carts or the gem cars that we began the service with, they were great marketing vehicles. They worked areas still on Key Biscayne, Miami Beach, etc. But they're really not built for public transportation. And
right?
that's what we provide. And these vehicles are out there hours and hours and hours a day, putting miles on them. And as we start to move into some of the more, dense suburban and areas with lots of traffic, they're not safe either.
Yeah.
So we, really kind of moved away from that specific vehicle and now providing this new micro transit service with Tesla vehicles, the new Volkswagen ID buses, which is
Is what I saw.
yeah, the retrofit of the old love.
Did you make a contract with Volkswagen, or is this like a design referring to?
So they came out with the concept years ago, and when we saw the first rendering of it, we said that is the perfect vehicle for us because it resembles that unique look of
Yeah,
the gem golf cart, right?
yeah, yes,
But
it
you
does.
still get all the features of a real car with great battery range, air conditioning, just all the safety features.
Nice.
And as soon as that launched at the beginning of last year in 2025, we got our hands on the first couple of those. And from that point forward, we just have been implementing them in all of the new contracts and a lot of our current cities switching to those new vehicles. And they're a game changer. They're amazing.
They look great. They really do. I that caught my eye. I saw it a couple of times, and I'm like, wow. God bless that kid.
Well, yeah, well, the ones in Wynwood, they were the first ones in Miami-Dade County, and we started with two bright pink Wynwood vehicles that are funded through the Wynwood bid.
Yeah,
At first it was just centered around moving people throughout the actual Wynwood district,
right.
but we've just expanded that to now allow people from outside the district to request a service to come into Wynwood. And the whole
Awesome.
goal of the program is it's an economic driver.
Absolutely.
It's, people sometimes, they see, oh, I need to go to Wynwood, but I don't want to have to drive.
Say, I want to go to Wynwood,
Yep,
or I want to go to Brickell,
sure.
because you have services. Where does Freebie provide services to?
We're in Florida specifically, we're in over 50 plus communities. Miami-Dade County, we're in 25 plus communities.
So major communities: Wynwood, Brickell, Key Biscayne, Miami Beach,
Doral,
Doral,
uh,
Pinecrest, Palmetto.
even as as south as Florida City, Homestead, Coconut Grove, we provide service with the Miami Parking Authority.
Nice. So if I want to go to the Grove, what do I do?
So
I download your app.
yes, but
Okay.
our service is not like your
You,
typical Uber that's going to take you anywhere you want to go.
okay. Okay.
We're in geofenced areas, right?
Right.
So Coconut Grove, there's a specific geofenced area. So if you're in that area, you can move around and use the app. It's all about that.
Geofence. So if I'm in Wynwood and I want to go from Wynwood to downtown Miami, would that be the same geofence?
They are different than geofences, although we do have an overlapping area where you can get dropped off in that overlapping area.
Okay.
We have many people from downtown Brickell that are taking this
So
downtown Brickell service
to
to this kind of this crossover point. You request a Wynwood service from there, and that's going to take you directly to Wynwood.
Wynwood. So you kind of go from Brickell to Flagler and from Flagler to Wynwood.
It's by the Venetian Causeway actually. It's kind of the
Okay.
crossover point. But yes,
Okay. I'm just curious.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's been since that has kind of launched the amount of traffic that we're driving into the Wynwood district now
Uh-huh.
from those areas, from the also the Edgewater areas, the Midtown areas. I mean, it's been incredible.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Have you done anything with Fisher Island?
Not with the shop.
You need to do Fisher Island. I know a lot of people that take the ferry up to the land
Yeah,
and they don't want to drive because they're older. Because you like all the things you just said. When I met you, it was Indian and cowboy territory.
sure.
I mean, we could do anything. You could park anywhere.
Oh yeah,
There was no problem. There was no towing roadway. Couldn't
yep,
care less. Wouldn't even come in the area.
correct.
Now everything's changed, right? But the things that have changed that for me is such a hassle, for you is such a blessing. For instance, putting money in the meter at three and a quarter.
Yeah,
At the 3 hours, 4 hours is $15. And then if you forget, it's $350 to get your car from roadway and they tow you in a half a second. All those terrible negativity things in a district, you come in with a solution.
yeah, we're just problem solvers, right? We're
So
trying to make life easier for
isn't it
people.
what how the world, how the ebbs,
Yeah,
right? How it's all changed.
yes,
I mean, and especially nowadays with those situations, people coming in, people complaining about, we have the Wynwood map and we have a stand in front of the Wynwood wall.
yeah,
So we always hear them. They just towed my car. What do I do? Da da da. So we're always hearing it. It's such a nice thing to know that you have this service now that we can actually tell
yeah.
people from the Wynwood stand, here's the app, download it, and then you can get yourself going.
Listen, it's a great service, but you got to thank the Wynwood bid, right? Because it's
Yeah,
better vision on why they wanted to bring this service in there. And really, they see the benefit of it. And
absolutely.
the whole goal is to get more money spent at these businesses,
Ab-
make it easier for people to get there, move
yeah,
around there.
yeah.
So the Wynwood bid is doing,
I mean, we saw the vision back in 2012.
yes.
But we were just Wynwood tours and you were just starting out and
Yep.
you need a bid, you need the government to stand behind to do the grants,
Mhm.
to sign them, and that's a whole different animal.
Yep.
I don't think the bid came in till 2015.
Yeah, no, the bid is,
I think they came in that.
gone through some iterations, and
Yeah,
I think where it's at today, it's in an incredible place.
that's awesome. That's really awesome. It certainly is. And what is your vision going forward for Freebie?
Again, I think we've really
Big
kind of made
cars, bigger.
not necessarily bigger cars, just more areas, right? I think we
Yeah.
mastered this concept that really provides true value to the communities. It gets people out of their personal cars for using public transportation. And public transportation is one of the most important things to provide in terms of quality of life for a community, economic impact. So the more areas we're able to obviously bring this service, Florida and beyond, the better, outcomes people will have all across the country here. So yes, it's a rollout of a national expansion here in the next 12 to 18 months.
That is great. National.
National.
So right now you're in South Florida.
We're in all of Florida,
Right.
Keys all the way up north, and we're also in North Carolina. So we have started that, that national expansion. But really, we have our eyes set over these next
That's
year and a half.
awesome.
On
I see it.
our-
I see it. I see it happening. I met you a decade and a half ago and you're a young kid right out of UM and you had the same exact vision.
Yeah.
It's just now going it's into motion.
Well, same vision and same energy, right? You can't lose just like you can't lose that energy, right? You got to be excited about what you're
You
doing.
got to be resilient and persistent
Oh yeah,
and always going out there. And I commend you, Jason. One of the questions that I'm sure some of the visitors and people coming onto our podcast would have, the FIFA 2026 is coming up. We expect 200,000 plus, people coming into Miami and Miami-Dade County. I know Freebie is going to be utilized a lot. How would they be able to, would they have to be in Miami Gardens staying? Would you be servicing it from the hotels, the preferred hotels?
yeah. Well, again, I think
Something that you're working out now.
there's a lot of outside of our core transportation service, which today is provided in many of the areas where these host hotels are, where the games are, like you said, in Miami Garden, downtown Brickell, Miami Beach. We'll be able to, provide that fan experience throughout those areas.
That's all.
But also working on some bigger partnerships right now where, you may be able to have some additional coverage or shuttles around the stadium, et cetera there.
That's awesome. I see that. I definitely see
Yeah,
it happening for you. I mean, I'm so proud of you. I mean, I really am. I think this is a great uh, underdog story that started, and the two young kids that just had the vision, same energy. What would the young Jason, what would you tell your 22-year-old self?
you know, 22-year-olds, I thought I'd become an overnight millionaire, right? And that was always the goal. But as we talked about, things don't happen overnight.
What?
And, you got to be really patient. You got to really kind of stay vigilant to your plan,
Yes.
but be ready to move with the market, right? That's the most important thing I would say is, nobody likes change, but the world is changing and it's changing fast. And if you're caught behind, you're not going to be in business anymore. So you have to continue to obviously evolve and, you know, things don't happen.
They don't happen overnight. And you had this vision that was so before anyone else, before the Tesla was on the market, before you had the electric car vision, you had started with the golf carts, but you always had this vision. I know that. I
Okay.
remember hearing you clearly,
Yeah.
same exact vision. And I'm proud. I'm really excited to see you shine, and
Absolutely appreciate that.
no, it's true. And we want to offer a platform to Freebie, through the magazine, through our map. I think now we're better prepared
Yeah.
than we were a decade and a half ago, to
Yeah.
fulfill each other's, and to overlap and help each other because, it takes a village,
Yep.
right? It takes a village. It's never just your own vision. It's sharing and collaboration all the time. It's
We
collaboration.
live by the quote, you can't be great without the greatness of others. And
I
it's
love
actually
that.
true because you can't do it by yourself.
I love that quote.
Yeah.
I love that.
You-
My quote is your success is my success, you know? And I have to tell you, Jason Spiegel, I love to talk to you again in 2 years from now, because I know I'm not going to have to wait a decade. I think 2 years from now, you will be national. And who knows, you might, knowing your brain, you're probably looking at the cars that are planes already.
There's a lot of interesting things in the works. Yes,
I
absolutely.
love that. I love that. I love everything you've done. And to find out about Freebie, all people have to do is just FREEBEE, right?
Yes. Just download the Ride Freebie app in the Apple Store, Google Play Store.
And it's still complimentary to the rider.
Yes, I would tell you 95% of the areas it's free.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting and awesome. And I remember when you told me back then, I couldn't understand how, but for a person who prints a map where 50% of the people are doing it for free, I get it.
Yeah.
You have to give before you receive.
Absolutely.
And I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And once again, Wynwood Magazine bringing you the creators of phenomenal business concepts and models. Freebie, Jason Spiegel, and catch you next time on Wynwood Magazine Podcast. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good job.
We hope you enjoyed our podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wynwood Magazine Official and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for listening.